I used autofocus for years, and I never thought I would get round to using an M lens for manual focusing. M doesn't stand for manual, I think it stands for the M line of cameras. May as well stand for manual focusing. Tried it in the store once, and I thought, actually, it's not bad, you know, I'm sure I could get used to it. And nowadays, with the aids these cameras have got, like the red dots to show what's in focus, you can get there. But the main thing was how damn small they are. This is a 90mm f2, and the equivalent, let's say Sigma 85mm art lens for a full frame camera is twice the size of this and maybe 3 times the weight. But there is a particular pleasure and a almost paraphernalia, ritual, what would I call it, to using a manual focus lens. Now, I'm not going to go all spiritual on you and start using film, because A, I don't have the patience, B, I'm just not good enough. But my God, when I bought this 90mm f2, I thought I'd fallen in love. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. When I bought this from London Camera Exchange, a 90mm f2, I fell in love with it. And as a manual focus lens, if you combine this with the Leica SL3 or SL2S or SL2 or even the SL, there's a lot of visual aids that this thing gives you when you're shooting. So it'll give you these red dots all over the subject if they're in focus. And yes, it is harder. Yes, it is slower. Yes, it is more methodical. But the shots this damn thing gets, my God, they are special. Are they any better than a 90mm with autofocus? I don't know if I can answer that with absolute authority. I feel like they are. And given I don't publish my work or sell anyone my photographs, let's be honest, no one's dumb enough to buy my crap, it doesn't matter, because I feel like I enjoy the shot I took, and I print some of my work and I put it up around this office. So it got me back into London Camera Exchange on the weekend, and they kindly lent me this 35mm f2 to try out. Now this is the brass version, so it's a lot heavier than the black ones that are aluminium and feels a lot more premium. And I decided I'd try this out from them to see whether or not 35mm was a focal range or focal length I'd ever get round to. My favorites are 24, 50, and 90. End of story. My favorite focal lengths for photographs of anything. I've tried wider, I've tried 14mm, I've tried longer lenses like the 90 to 280 that I've got from Leica. This, I'm not sure about, but I am starting to fall in love with it. Everyone bangs on about 35mm, and it's the almost go-to for reportage, as the Germans call it. Or is that the French way of saying it? But if I say it with a German accent, it is reportage. It's what they used originally. Now, this is a remake of a lens that was made in the 1960s, I think. And this is on the 4th iteration now. But my God, it is utterly, utterly gorgeous to have on your camera. That alone, I don't care what anyone says to you, will make you go and take photos. If you've got a piece of junk, let's say you've got a sand beige camera with puke green buttons on it, you're probably never going to want to use it. It's just going to sit there in the corner somewhere, and maybe it's a novelty piece. But when you've got something like this in your hands, you just want to go out and shoot. It's just so, so magnificent to look at and to hold. And with all the visual aids this thing has got now, even manual focus becomes quite simple. And I always thought, well, there's no chance in hell I will ever be that guy that does manual focus photography. But I'm starting to really, really fall in love with it. And it's simpler than I thought, and it's more rewarding than I ever believed it could be. Just to have this and to know that's in focus. All you got to do, line that up, and now I'm focusing on the viewfinder to the right, and if I move out a little bit, I'm focusing on the front of the lens. I mean, it's that simple. Bear in mind with the 35mm f2, you've got about 2 feet of window, let's say, if someone's moving towards you. Problem with something like the 90mm, I think it's a lot shallower than that. It's like 6 inches or something. So you really have to nail it if you're shooting people and they're moving. But for what I shoot most of the time, street photography, when I say street photography, it'll be shops, it'll be cars. I'm in a garage the other day in Selfridges and I take photographs of this whatever you call it, G-Wagon. And 35mm gives me something that 50 doesn't. It gives me the environment the car is in or the subject is in. And that's a big bonus. Having a little bit of context to the photos. That's something I really do enjoy. I'm probably going to buy this from London Camera Exchange. It's the second M lens I've bought from them. And I gotta say, I very, very much like the environment stuff that you get as a context, because you can crop in. I mean, this thing's a 60 megapixel sensor. And on a final note, I think that if you're going to use M lenses, unless you really have to get the Leica monochrome or the Leica, any of the M cameras, not the film ones, the digital ones, the rangefinders, I'd be inclined to get yourself an old SL if possible, because these lenses, for me and for a few other creators I've seen on YouTube, when I say other creators, I don't class myself as one, I mean proper creators on YouTube, they all seem to say the same thing, that this digital sensor, the 60 megapixel, that's 48 megapixels I think in the SL2, really does work well with these lenses, and it makes the kit so small that you can fit it in a bag like this easily and carry it around, which you struggle to do with the traditional lenses that go on the front of these things. I mean, the 24 to 90 is an absolute monster. Beauty of me buying this 35 would mean I could put the 90 in here, the 50 in there, and have the 35 on the camera and still have room for the Leica Q3 at the front. If I was using standard L-mount lenses, all I could fit in was the 24-90, that's it. And that's f2.8 through to f4. So this way I've got 3 f2 lenses, really fast, and an f1.7 that sits on the front of the Q3 in the same space I could only fit a 24-90 lens. So I'm not saying I'm going to go full manual. If it's sports, there's no chance in hell I would ever use one of these. Whenever I'm filming touch tennis events, or if I'm taking photographs at touch tennis events, it's always going to be the 24 to 90 or the 90 to 280. But for my time, when I'm out taking photographs, I can't think of much better combos than this, the 50 and the 90. I know it's a lot of money, and I know it's insane amounts of money actually to be discussing on a YouTube channel, and sort of, I don't want to encourage anyone to go and buy something like this unless they absolutely have the money. It's such a lot of money to spend. This second hand is 2,000, that one is 2,000, which is still a terrific sum of money to spend. New, they're like 5,000, 6,000. So think about it, earn the right to buy it, make sure it's from savings and not from a credit card. And unless you absolutely have to have it, naturally don't buy it. But if you convince yourself, as I did, that you absolutely have to have it, I think I'm going to end up buying this from London Camera Exchange on the weekend. And if not, I will be very sad to give this back.